So we know Cedric series has a lot of mythology and history, but you're probably wondering, what about the book I've been working on currently? Does it have history and fun snippets? Though Grandmere and the world that Dante and John live in is very fictionalized with a lot of influences from our world, there are nuggets in here that are historically accurate. For instance, this moment I'm going to read to you guys. And I shared this on a panel at DragonCon called Fact or Fiction, and it was so cute to see everyone's answers. So this is Dante taking care of John. John has like a crucifix burnt across his back, and it's not healing properly. So this is him applying something, and then I'll explain a little bit of the history. My hand paused, hovering over the angry burns of the cross I helped make. Sections were raw, as if no scab would form or bother to cover the flesh underneath. The pungent smell threatened of building infection. Sighing, John tensed his shoulders. I jerked to move and stopped again, unsure if he would be ready for the pain to come. Leaning harder against the chair, John prepared himself, and I began cleaning the marking. I don't know which of us is the bigger moron. Hissing from the wet cloth touching his charred skin, John broke the silence. Do you have to scrub so hard? It wouldn't be this bad if you hadn't been so careless today. My eyes fell to the blood-soaked shirt and spots on the inside of his black coat. You should have told me. When did it start bleeding again? The muscles in his back tensed. On the walk here, we weren't even halfway when it started to ooze and sting like hell. You would have wanted to stop, or worse, convince me to turn around and wait another week. It should be healing better than this, don't you think? I think Bishop Marquis enjoyed pressing it too deep. You ruffled his feathers. Wringing out the cloth, I placed it over the cross. It'll be less of a nuisance if we can keep it clean. So is that our horse out front? John placed his chin on his forearms, leaning forward on the back of the chair. Does it have a name? He has a name. Bosk. Digging into the satchel, I grabbed a few of the buzz buttons and dropped them in the stone mortar. Bosk, he echoed. I take it he's got wit to him then? Without a doubt. Spitting into the bowl, I used the back of my knife to smash and work the ingredients together. I lost the pestle already, great. Did you just spit in that? John turned, glaring at me. Are you going to rub buzz button spit on my back? Pausing, I looked to him and the bowl again. Yes. Ugh, it's like living with Grandpa all over again. John covered his face. Got an infection? Let me chew this root and spit it on there. Got a bee sting? Let me chew on some tobacco and spit it on there. I finished for him. Laughing, I kept working the ball-shaped buds into a mash, spitting again. I got my share of that one. I had that one after I made the mistake of not checking the tree before hitting it with the axe. Ha! That's exactly what I did. We were both laughing now. Shaking my head, I managed to make a paste. Not sure how well this will work. Going to hit the worst areas first and work it in. How did you find out about the buzz buttons? John's back muscles twitched as I pulled away the wet cloth and dabbed the paste on the first angry spot. Was that Grandpa as well? Actually, no. Each flourish and line of the branded cross felt rough and agonizing under my fingers, but I pushed on, working the paste in and around. I remember a maid had a toothache and carried some in her pocket. She would chew on them, and she thought it would be funny to let me try one and see what was so grand about it. What did it taste like? With each returning touch, his muscles would tighten and release. Oh, I imagine your mouth went numb as hell. It's working better than I expected. You might as well chew on hay, if you ask me. Digging out the last of the paste, I worked over the cross one last time, cursing Bishop Marquis. You'll never touch John again. My mouth was numb for hours, but the taste was still there. Everything was salty. I don't see how she could chew on them all day, but her tooth had to be pulled by the blacksmith in the end. She ended up not needing them anymore and gave them to the blacksmith for his burns. It all just stuck with me, I guess. Never knew if I might need to know that information for later. So, to give you guys an idea of where in the craziness did Val think of some of these things and what part of that is true. Buzz buttons is a real thing. They're also called electric daisies. This flower is common across the board all around the world. There's variants of it. It was called, during the Civil War times in 1800s, they did refer to it as the toothache plant or the toothache flower. And it numbs you pretty well. But it also flips your taste buds. Seasons 52, the restaurant, had a drink where they used like a lemon liquor and a cocktail with buzz buttons, and you were supposed to chew the buzz buttons and drink the drink. My friend discovered this, called me and a few other friends up. We joined her. Thank you, Dee Dee. And all I have to say is when you eat a buzz button and eat stuff that is salty and sweet, it kind of flips the flavors or enhances the flavors drastically. But the lemon cocktail did not go well for me because it was like a 9-volt battery touching the tip of my tongue. If you've ever done that as a kid, or even now, that's a fun little weird sensation, but that's what it did. Now, chewing tobacco and putting it on bee stings is also a thing. And it was very common for the blacksmith to be the person to pull a bad tooth, long before dentists were a thing. So that is some cool little history things found in The Princess Priest, and I have little nuggets like that continuously slid under the radar to help tell the story in a much richer way that I think is more believable. Sometimes it's unbelievable, but it is what it is. So keep reading. Pick up a copy on my shops, either on TikTok or my website, or even my publisher's website, or where books are sold. See you on the flip side.